Hello and welcome to Senior Speeches for the class of 2021. Our first speaker today is Declan.
I found myself just a few weeks ago writing a Christmas letter to my younger brother Cam. I had the entirety of Christmas Eve to write this letter. Then I waited and chose to write it when I knew I'd be most productive, at 1:30 in the morning. As I wrote the first line, "Dear Cam," I never knew the powerful emotions this card would come to bring out of me. 200 words later, as I signed the card, "Love, Jackson," I had tears in my eyes. The past few months were filled with soccer, college applications, rehearsals, homework, papers, exams, you name it. Yet at 2 a.m., something clicked in my head as I realized just what was before me. I was merely a few months away from becoming an adult, a few months away from going off to college, a few months away from being far from my family, and that meant leaving Cam. It was in that very moment that I began to reflect on the times I had shared with the incredible young man I call my brother. Cameron and I have always been close. I used to listen to my fellow classmates express their frustration towards their younger siblings. They would talk about how annoying their brother or sister was, how they would always fight and bicker. I never truly understood that sentiment. Growing up, we did everything together. We built pillow forts in the basement. We had 1v1 therefores in the family room. We played soccer in the backyard. We shared these very similar interests early on, but our paths eventually began to diverge. This fact became most clear to me a few years ago, during Cameron's very brief soccer career. In the fall of 2013, Cameron played his first game at Mockingbird Valley. I was beyond excited. I dreamed of training with him for hours and competing with each other to be the best. When Cameron walked off the field, he was less than excited. Wasn't that so much fun? I asked enthusiastically. It was okay, I guess. He was fun. I was shocked. My 10-year-old mind could not comprehend how someone did enjoy playing soccer. I curiously asked why he didn't have a good time. Cameron said, well, it was too good. First, we lost. I didn't like that. I responded saying, well, you might have enjoyed it a bit more if you ran out with the ball, to which he replied, and that's the second thing. I hate running. And this was the exact moment where Cameron and I began our separate journeys. I went on to play tennis, basketball, and soccer, while Cameron took up art, piano, and a sport which requires the least amount of running possible, archery. Though we no longer shared a common interest, we certainly shared the same passion for our given endeavors. This became very evident during quarantine. We both set goals at the beginning of lockdown, giving ourselves large projects to tackle. I personally wanted to live my life exactly like a professional athlete, and Cameron wanted to start his own business. My project meant diets, workouts, and mental training. For Cameron, his project meant marketing, inventory, and distribution. Cameron's work ethic surrounding his company was breathtaking. He built his company under the name Benoit, which in French means bath. He made countless bath bombs, hundreds of soaps, and an absurd amount of salt scrubs. He managed his finances, scheduled deliveries, and even started an instrument cage. To top it all off, he donated the entirety of his profits to civil rights groups in Louisville, all at the age of 13. As a big brother, I could have been jealous or frustrated that he was able to achieve so much, far more than I would have been able to achieve at that age. But instead, I was beyond proud. I'm honestly excited to see what he'll accomplish. Cameron displayed so many parts of his character through Benoit. He showed his creativity, his dedication, his kindness for others. You always hear about younger brothers wanting to be like their older brothers, but as an older brother, I often wish I could be like him. I hope to one day have a fraction of his kind heart. Getting a college acceptance letter really changed my outlook on my relationship with Cameron. I began to find greater appreciation for little moments with him, simply out of recognition that I might soon come to miss such moments. Moments like him rushing up the stairs to tell me he's won another game of Apex. Moments like taking him out to lunch at Moe's. Moments like listening to Out on Bail by YG on the way home from school. This is the only rap song he can stand. Moments like laughing when he comes home and announces that he's unhappy with his grade because he presents straight A's and not A minus. I challenge all the older siblings listening today to find greater appreciation for these moments. Whether that be as grand as watching your siblings start their own business or simple sharing a laugh, I encourage you to cherish the time you spend with them. Mom, I want to thank you for reminding me often that Cameron and I share a special relationship. Dad, I want to thank you as well. You're the youngest of 3 brothers, and you taught me the great responsibility that comes with being the oldest sibling, and the importance of leaving a positive impact on Cameron. I hope both of you smile at how well Cameron and I get along. Lastly, Cammy, I have to thank you. You've been a wonderful brother, a great friend, and a fantastic senior speech talker. I love you, buddy, and good luck on your history quiz next year. Thank you.
Our second speaker today is Smith Lewis.
Hello. As some of you may know, I used to have anger issues. And yeah, you've probably heard some stories about my youth that did not shine the most positive light on me. But today I want to speak about some of these experiences and maybe give you all some insight into my point of view and reasoning. Before I attended collegiate, I went to St. Agnes, where I had several incidences which resulted in a short career as an actor. But there was one specific incident that put me at what some may call legendary status. First grade, Smith was in music class. The teacher was assigning students instruments for the day, and I had been assigned what I thought was the worst instrument, the triangle. So naturally, I began to cry, and I could feel a full-blown temper tantrum in the near future. With emotion spilling through my snotty face, I had to take action. This is when all hell broke loose. I tossed a chair across the room with absolutely no regard for human life, and was immediately sent to the principal's office. I was sent home early that day. Some of my old classmates from St. Agnes actually still recognize me as the kid who threw the chair. Another incident that is still talked about amongst friends every once in a while is the table flip. Some of you were there and might still be scarred by the event. It was third or fourth grade, and I was sitting next to my good friend, Hugh McKenna, during our class. And you and I had started to get chattery, and Miss Clifford kindly asked us to be quiet while she demonstrated our next project. But suddenly, I felt embarrassed by the request. To counteract that embarrassment, I needed to act quickly. And that is when the table flipped. With all my force, I flipped the table and stormed out of the room. What my younger self did not think of before flipping the table was the greater embarrassment that would come with ragefully tossing a large piece of furniture in front of my entire class. Getting to the 5th grade, everyone was required to learn how to play the recorder. I was uninterested in the instrument, but it was a requirement to learn 12 new songs to pass the class. I didn't learn the 12 songs. Serves me right, though, I did not give my full effort. One day after school, I went to the music room, already frustrated because this had been my 4th try to pass the 8th song. After being assessed on the song, I failed, and the teacher told me, "That's not good enough," and pointed toward the door, which was a fair response to my subpar performance. But the angry 5th grader inside took it as an insult and quickly snapped back with a, "Well, you're not good enough." After this, I quickly dropped my recorder and ran to the carpool line. Luckily, my mom was waiting in her car. I swung open the car door and said, "Go, go, go." This resulted in the head of lower school sitting in for the next couple of music classes. Looking back now, my friends and I can laugh, but as I reflect, I can see how much I have grown and matured into the person I am today, and wouldn't be that person without the support of those around me. So I'd like to thank the people who have helped me along the way. To Ms. Scharfenberger and the advisory, thank you for creating a caring community. You guys never fail to brighten my day. To my mom and dad, thank you for putting up with me and always being on my side. And to all my family, I love you and want to thank and want to thank you for always believing in me and pushing me to be better. And finally, to my friends, thanks for all the awesome memories and for never changing. I'm gonna miss you guys next year. Thanks for listening.
Our final speaker today is
Before we begin, just to get that, really capture that senior speech aura, I wouldn't mind if someone dropped their phone on the ground really quickly. Anybody? Thank you. All right. To my parents, too often goes unsaid, you two have given me everything I will ever need in order to be successful and happy, and I appreciate how supportive you are of me in everything that I do. I cannot thank you enough. Thank you. And I love you. 2 years ago, we had a strings concert, and my mom was walking down the hallway by the cafeteria when she overheard Cal LeDoux say, "I'm gonna pull a Grant Foley." Oh no, crisis on the horizon. The nerves kicked into gear, she probably started to sweat a little bit. The pressure mounted and she wondered, what is a Grant Foley? You can imagine the stress a parent undergoes, imagining what other children recognize as the trademarks of their own child. I myself was stressed when my mom relayed the story to me afterward. There's always the possibility that it's something great, but it could also be something terrible. Ethical flaw, character indictment, the fact that I laugh at all of Mr. Stern's jokes, something I would never want my parents to overhear. So Cal said he was going to pull up a grant, and my mom fearfully observed him as he rolled his sleeves up to his elbows. And we can all agree, although I have not rolled my sleeves up today, that is pretty accurate. There was something about the stress of that moment, though, that made me think. I love people. I like to meet them. I stayed in Japan for 6 weeks during the summer before junior year, and I met a lot of people there, albeit not very well due to the language barrier. There was a lot of gesturing and suspecting that they were making fun of me at every moment, and using Google to translate my height into centimeters so I could answer their questions. But while I was there, I did manage to meet people, mainly because they were interested in me and my whiteness. I met an elderly couple who showed me a photo album of their daughter and American son-in-law. I met 2 bald guys who were brothers, and one of them really liked to pronounce the names of random movie stars. And I met a kid who was competing in a sand sculpture tournament, and on 2 separate occasions, some strangers gifted me with raw fish. I met all kinds of people. The weird thing, though, was that Japan made me feel like I didn't know how to introduce myself. Yes, I could say, "Hello, my name is Grant." I didn't know that much of the language. Instead, I just felt like if you had asked me then to pull a Grant Foley, I would not have been able to do whatever that is. I've spent a lot of time here at Collegiate, thus a lot of time with many of you, especially my fellow seniors. And one of the great things about Collegiate, of course, is the size. We all get to know one another so closely. But you spend enough time here, and you also accrue a resume, a list of accomplishments, but also a list of errors. And it gets to a point where nobody meets you before they meet your reputation. Discounting my friends, of course, the things that I might know about you all and the things you know about me, those are static. Those are moments and circumstances, good and bad, that have now been immortalized in the minds and words of our peers. Naturally, that will never be a complete picture of anyone. On the other hand, we also do so much introspection in our classes. Personal narratives, this I believe speeches freshman year, sophomore year's autoethnography. Sometimes I feel as if we do all this just to prove that we can write down on a sheet of paper precisely who we are at each moment. As I said before, I love people, and that has always meant that I care what they think of me. It took me pretty much all of high school to realize that it's not all so serious. There are many things that we cannot change. We cannot change some fundamental truths about high school. People will usually form an idea of you before they ever speak to you, and that idea will always be based on that resume or historic moments. But when you're in an English class writing an essay about who you are, don't feel like you have to prove anyone wrong. Don't think that because people have an idea of who you are, you have to strain to find a stronger one. If you don't know yet, you don't know. I've wasted a lot of time in my own head worrying about these things. Especially during that homestay in Japan, I constantly stressed about this weird identity crisis that I felt like I had to be having because I was abroad in a new place without you guys. I felt like I had to rely on all of your images of me in order to know for myself what pulling a grant was. And as a result, I lost time that I could have spent talking to more of those I met or being more outgoing with my family. I missed so many details because I didn't realize that it's not all so serious knowing exactly who I am. And neither is it so important those things people identify as me. Even if we don't see it yet, only we can know our character, not those around us that observe our actions. At the end of the day, the only truth others really know about you isn't some fundamental truth. It's only just the way that you roll up your sleeves. Thank you.
Juniors, you can go back. Seniors, if you all want to hang out here, we can until next class. Okay. Gentlemen, can I get a picture of you together?